Tanya Brown, your spiritual business coach, and today I want to give you tips on how to navigate the holiday season when you have toxic members in your family. Now, here's the thing I want to start off with first and foremost. The percentage of Americans or people worldwide that have dysfunctional families or have people who may be toxic or may be negative in their close family is very normal. So I just want to take the stigma away from that for a minute. There are more people like you in that regard as opposed to not. So you are not alone, first and foremost. But the thing is, as we go into the holiday season, I know there's so much negativity, and I'm using this because of all the clients that I work with. As they're approaching holiday parties, family parties, get-togethers, there's a level of angst and anxiety that comes up when they like envision themselves being around these people who are in their family. Now, here's the couple of the tips to help you navigate these uncomfortable situations. First and foremost, make sure you surround yourself with people who want to be around you. And I say that when you're in this type of environment, find your friends. Yes, they're family, but find your friends within this that support you. And I say that because there are so many people within your family that you may not be on the same page. They may not understand what you're going through. They may not understand the things that you're trying to do. And I say that from experience. And it doesn't need to be anything bigger than that. And I say that it could be career. I come from a traditional family. I was expected to follow, go into the medical field because that was a normal job, or go into a legal field because that was, a good job. I went into the fashion industry, which was not understood at the time that I was embarking on this. That was just something that they didn't get. It wasn't a comfortable job. So I'm speaking from experience. When you go into these situations, a lot of times you're going to be asked to kind of justify your life choices. So being very realistic when you go into these situations, going into these situations with an intention. I do this all the time. I always think, what do I want to, or how do I want to feel? Or what do I want to achieve? And I also look at what time am I going to leave? And I know that may sound crass, but when you go into any situation that is uncomfortable and you give yourself boundaries, like, okay, I'm going to do the room. I'll do a couple of laps. I will stay away from so-and-so. I'm not going to engage with this person, and I'm going to stay close to this person. And I know that sounds weird, but it's a strategy. Going into an uncomfortable situation with a strategy and intention of how you're going to navigate this. And when you do that, you feel more in control. It sounds crazy, but it's true. Okay, I'm only going to do this for like 2 hours. We've got dinner, we've got talk beforehand, talk afterwards, and then, we'll wrap it up. It's as simple as that. And focusing on this way, you feel like you're achieving your goals and your expectations are met as you're putting your intentions out there. So you don't come home feeling dejected and feeling unempowered, because we've all felt that way. We've gone to situations where you're like, I can't believe I let them talk to me that way. I can't believe I didn't speak up for myself. I can't believe I was silent. That's okay. But going in there knowing that certain people want to push your buttons. And again, this is family, so this is not somebody who wants to harm you. Their intention may be kind, but their execution lacks. And I say that when you have, the aunt or uncle that's asking you about your social life or about your job status, something that you really don't want to talk about. Being very firm in terms of what you're going to discuss. And I don't mean that being like a closed, trap, and it's like, oh, I'm not going to discuss this. No, making it fun for yourself. If you know that Aunt Sally is going to ask you about your social life again, come up with a funny response. A funny response that doesn't answer the question, but kind of gives you an out to move on to the next one. Same thing with career. If you know that they're going to ask you the same thing, are you still in that job? Are you, make a joke out of it. Make a joke out of it and say something that's going to pacify them so that you can move on. You could even, it's the holiday season. You can make it a funny joke. It's like, you know what? I was going to do, you could play around with it, saying something that may just, and I'm coming up with uncomfortable conversations, but, or uncomfortable retorts, but I'm like, make a joke at it. If they're saying, oh, you're still in that job, it's like, it's better than, some other jobs. Well, the other things that I'm thinking of are not appropriate. Like, make a game out of it to the point that you can make a joke. It could be an uncomfortable joke for them and then move on. Say, for example, like your aunt is a nurse. And it's like, I can't stand the sight of blood, not even my own, but I'm bummed, and move on to the next thing. It's like one of those old-fashioned, like Shecky Smith, or one of those like vaudevillian characters. Like, think of it as a punchline. Like, they've got like that line that they're going to give you every time. Come up with your rhetorical punchline. Fine. They may not think it's funny, but you think it's hilarious, and you're moving on to the next thing. But being firm, being kind, and reinforcing your boundaries. But it goes back to teaching people how to treat you. It's your gig. It's your life. Showing them how you want to be treated. And if it comes across that Tanya doesn't want to talk about that again, don't bring it up, then fine, mission accomplished. Because at the end of the day, you want to go in, you want to have fun, you want to connect with those that you feel comfortable with and have your back. And I don't want to say siding, but are supporting of you. And then for those who are just kind of like, we got to get it into our head, we need to no, you know what, they've got their own agenda. Just let them be. Know that, you're not going to take this away from me. You're not going to steal my fun. And just be fun about it. Be upbeat about it, and just dance around them, and until it's time for you to leave. And also, bear in mind, it's okay for you to leave. You don't have to be willing to walk away. Just because they're friends and just because, your blood relations does not mean you have to give them a main spot in your life. They don't need to be a main character. They could be a bit player that shows up every, couple of months. And knowing that, you're only tolerating them because of this. You're going to this party and they're going to be there, but you're not going to be in their space. You're not going to allow yourself to be cornered, And if you do, have a little, if you're backed in a corner and they're browbeating you with questions you really don't feel like you need to answer, you see Aunt Susie or Aunt Frank or Cousin Ethel down the line, oh, excuse me, I needed to speak to them. That's your French exit. Just being able to get out. I know that's not appropriate French exit, but that just popped into my mind and I thought I'd share that. But again, it's about being willing to walk away, walking into any situation with your agenda, your intention, and knowing how you're going to navigate it. And walking in, it's almost like you're walking in with a game plan. It's like when you're going to a game and they know how they're going to play and how they're going to strategize. And that's how you're going to deal with these dinner parties and these holiday events. And this works with work as well. Going into it knowing, okay, you know what, I'm going to do once around the room and, that's it. Once around the room, twice around the room, 3 times max, and then I'm out of here. And then you're done. But the thing about this is it gives you a sense of empowerment, a sense of control. There's a lot of things that you can't control in this world. True. But the way you react to other people is something you can control. And going into a toxic situation or a situation that's really going to test your boundaries, know that you can control you. You can control you, and you can control how you react to others and how you react to the things that are said to you. And looking at using the things that they've said in the past that may have triggered you, come up with a response, and come up with a response that just doesn't really answer the question, but pacify them to move on to the next thing. Because it's about allowing them not to create space, negative space in your life, in your environment, in your world. Again, they're a bit player. They're not a main cast player in your life. And they should be treated as such. And it's not about being negative to them. It's not about ignoring them or being rude. It's about just not giving them the oxygen to hold the space in your life. As always, this is Tanya Brown, your spiritual business coach, and I hope this was helpful to you, especially going into the holiday season. We've been through a really tough couple years, and it's about being kind to yourself and focusing on yourself, your self-care, your self-love, and your self-esteem. And if you are encountering someone who is not enriching that in any way, shape, or form, it's about putting up the boundaries and saying, yeah, you're not going to be a part of my life, or you're not going to be a main character in my life. But it's about acknowledging that and protecting yourself. And that's what boundaries are about. It's about self-protection. And it's about working on your self-care, putting up boundaries that aid to your self-care. If something is doing you harm, if something is affecting your psyche or your mental health, create a boundary. Do not allow them to pass the gate. And if they do, just give them a very small amount of attention. That's all. It's about protecting you so that you feel safe and your mental health and your self-care is being treated well. But again, this is Tanya Brown, your spiritual business coach. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to share this with somebody you feel could benefit from them. And as always, I know a lot of you want to book sessions. There's a link below that you can book a session with me. And there's also get on my mailing list, because I put out a ton of programs going forward, and those on my mailing list become one of the first to be alerted and be given an early bird discount. So there's that. So again, look forward to seeing you on the next video, and you take care.